Hello, in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of daily routines. So this is pertaining to self-care, and this information comes from my Body, Mind, and Soul self-care planner and journal. So this is going to be a deep dive into why daily routines specifically are so important. And I think that it's important that I make this video because this is one of the crucial fundamentals of health. This fits into all areas of health as far as physical, mental, and spiritual. So we're going to go over today basically everything you need to know about what daily routines are, why they're so important, and how you can make them work for you, how you can put them into your life. And I've also got a blog post, but I don't have a video for it yet, but it basically talks about how you can implement daily routines into your life um, without thinking that you're stuck into a rigid pattern where you have no spontaneity. So they kind of seem like they're opposites. Like having a daily routine is a set schedule. It doesn't allow for any freedom or spontaneity. But I will put a link down in the description for that blog post so you can read that, because I don't want people to think that daily routines are boring and they take over your life and you're stuck with this schedule that you have to adhere to. So that's another thing that I'm going to put down in the description is that blog post. All right, so let's get started with this. So the first thing that I'm going to mention here is keeping a regular routine is important. And of course, this is kind of reiterating what I just said about having a regular daily routine. But this is what really matters, because when you have a daily routine, when you do anything regularly, that is what builds you as a person. That is what creates your lifestyle. So that's why exercise is so important. That's why eating healthy is so important, because when you do something every single day, that becomes who you are. So I like to say you are what you repeatedly do, and that's true because literally anything, think of anything at all that you do every single day. It's such a huge part of your life that you identify with it and you think of it as you. So, when you want to build a healthy lifestyle, when you want to implement self-care routines into your life, doing them regularly is what's important. All right, so the next slide here is morning and night. So, this is where you do not have to rigidly schedule your entire day every single hour. You really only need to do morning and night, morning routines and nighttime routines. This is really all you have to do. And honestly, they don't even have to take up that much time, because what matters is the regular part of it, the regularity. So let's say you get up in the morning and you spend a half an hour doing your morning routine. And then at night, before you go to bed, you've got let's just say another half an hour before bed. That's only an hour out of the whole day. And you don't have to have it be a half an hour. If you're a very busy person, you can do 5 minutes. You can squeeze these things in. There's a lot of quick self-care routines, and I can't remember if I did a video on that, but I know I've written a blog post about it. So I'll either link to the video or the blog post on quick self-care daily routines that only take a minute, and those are things that you can do morning and night, and you can do 5 of them in a row, just do each one for a minute like that. Or if you do have more time, if you don't have kids, if you only work part-time, if you work from home, if you're in control of your schedule and you have more time, you can do as much as you want, honestly. And I know there's a lot of health, um, I don't know what you'd call them, experts that have YouTube channels where they'll go through their entire daily routine, and their daily routine takes hours. Like they've got a 3 or 4 hour morning routine, and that is not possible for most people, I understand. And so I really like to just give people these tips and information, and then they can take what will work for them and use it in their life. So while I am going to talk about a lot of things you can do, that doesn't mean you have to do all of them. And then the nighttime routine, that one I think is almost more important than morning. Well, in some ways, now that I'm saying that, I'm thinking of ways that maybe the morning is more important. The morning is important because the way you start your day kind of determines how your day is going to go. If you get up grumpy and you're rushing, you're not going to digest your food properly. You're probably going to be agitated and irritated, and that's the kind of day where you might, get fly off the handle at somebody at some little thing that shouldn't have bothered you. So that's why morning routines are important, as far as setting the stage for your day. And then nighttime routines, I think the reason why I think they're slightly more important is because at night your body needs to shift down a gear. It needs to be aware that it's nighttime. So there's a lot of things that you can do that will help you shift into that night mode where then you will sleep better. You'll digest your food better. You'll detox everything that came into your body that day better. Everything happens better when you can sleep better. So having a nighttime routine is very crucial for that sort of thing, and that begins at sunset. Now, I know a lot of people don't work daytime, they work at night, and so they can't do that. And I lived that life most of my life. I was a nighttime shift worker, and oh, I wish I could take all that back because it's so unhealthy. And so basically, after sunset, if you are able to, that's when you should start doing all of your nighttime routine things if you can. So, like I said again, these are all things that you can pick and choose what works for you depending on how much time you have. So, at night, I think it's really important to turn off all of your blue lights. So have amber lights on, like Himalayan salt lamps and candles and things like that, and also using blue light blocking apps on whatever screens you're using, not eating any food a couple hours before you go to bed, not doing any strenuous exercise before you go to bed, writing in a journal every night before bed. That's something that I recommend everybody do morning and night if you have time. And that's something that can only take a few minutes. I have a journal that is just 2 pages, where the first page is you're just kind of answering journal prompts of that day. So the best thing that happened, the worst thing that happened, and so on and so forth. And then the second page is a brain dump. And those are two important types of journaling to do at night before bed. So that's one of the things that I include that in with self-care. Journaling is self-care at its finest. Like if I had to pick any one thing that anybody would do every day for self-care, it would definitely be journaling. So, um, I will also link to a video or a blog post, or maybe both, about how to get better sleep, and that includes the nighttime routines that I mentioned, because getting better sleep, it really starts in the morning. It really starts with getting that sunlight and getting, active, and then, it's a rhythm. It's the whole thing about rhythm, which I'm going to go into a little bit more in a couple minutes here. But as far as the routines, yeah, I'm going to leave some more information about that because it's all about sleeping. It's all about the rhythm. Like if you do everything right, then everything else will work right. And that's kind of um, what my next slide here is. Rhythm. The body thrives on rhythm, and this is the two modes of the circadian rhythm, and this is how humans have been for millions of years. So in the daytime, when the sun's up, your brain makes serotonin, and that's from the light. So whenever you get up, no matter what time of day it is, you should always try to look at the sun. Or not directly at it, of course, but if you are awake when the sun's just coming over the horizon, you can look at it. That's called sun gazing. And that's a whole nother subject, but if the sun's higher up and it's too bright and you can't look at it, then it's good enough just to be outside because your eyes are still taking in that light. And that is what helps your circadian rhythm get set. Because when you're taking in the light in the morning, your brain's producing serotonin, then you're in day mode. And then later on at night when the sun goes down, then your brain starts producing melatonin and then you're in night mode. And this is why it's important to watch the sunrise and the sunset if you can. That's very hard for most people. In fact, I would do it if I didn't live surrounded by trees and hills. Like in order to see the sunrise and the sunset, I would have to hop in my car and drive a couple miles. And I'm not going to do that every morning and night. But if you possibly can, that's a great way to set your circadian rhythm. And so, yeah, like I said, this is why habits and routines are important because the more in sync your body is with, the sun and the moon and your sleep patterns, the healthier you will be. So it kind of makes sense to get those daily routine habits in the morning and night because those are the two times of the day where it really matters. What you do with the middle of your day is up to you. Of course, you can do a lot of things during the middle of the day for self-care or any daily routine habits that you would like. It's just the beginning and the end of the day where they're the most important. So I want to talk a little bit about this chart here. This is the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. These both have different purposes, but one of them is a little bit better than the other, and you want to be in that one more, and that is the parasympathetic. That's the one where you're basically, if you had to sum it up, it's the relaxed, and then the sympathetic is where um, other things are happening. So I'm going to go over these and I'm going to explain that a little bit more. And why does this pertain to daily routines anyway? When your body is in sync with the rhythms of the day, like I said, then everything works, everything's in flow, and then you're healthier. So when you're not in flow with things, then your body starts to react in a, it gets a little aggravated. And, everybody knows that when you're feeling agitated or anxious or nervous or stressed or depressed, your body isn't working the way it should. It can't do certain things correctly. So, to get into the parasympathetic nervous system, this is why we do things like self-care. Anything like taking a bubble bath or journaling or meditating or doing yoga or going for a walk. Anything that's basically either calming or enjoyable, those are all things that are going to help. So, if you look over on the left side, you'll see it says stimulate salivation, and that is something that you want because when you are digesting food, the saliva is actually step one. A lot of people don't realize that. That's something that Ayurveda talks about a lot, where, the first thing that your food is encountering is your saliva, and that is how it gets broken down the most. So if you chew better or if you have more saliva in your mouth, obviously your food is going to digest better. And then if you look over on the right where it says inhibits salivation, that is not what you want because then like I said, your digestion isn't going to work right. So this is a reason why we sit down when we eat. This is a reason why we don't multitask when we eat. It's why we have a calm, relaxed atmosphere whenever we're eating, and we're also chewing slowly. And then if you also look over on the left, you'll see where it says decreases heart rate. I'm going to use my pointer here. I guess I should have been doing that. So here is where it says decreases heart rate. And over here it says increases heart rate. Now, that doesn't take any explanation to know that whenever your heart is beating faster, your body thinks there's something it's got to take care of. It's not relaxed. So you always want to have your heart rate low. And also over here, this is what I was just saying. It stimulates the digestive activity. Over here, it inhibits digestive activity. So anytime your body is not digesting the food that's in it, that's not good. And that's why Ayurveda goes a lot into this, very, very deep into this subject, because Ayurveda believes you are what you eat and you are what you digest. So if your food is sitting in your stomach, but you are in a sympathetic nervous situation where your body is on alert, then it's not going to put any energy into digesting your food. And this is a huge reason why Ayurveda talks about that so much because it's so important. I mean, digestion is one of the most crucial elements of our health. And if you go further down on this list here, it says inhibition of adrenaline production. So just the word adrenaline, you don't want that happening when you're trying to go to bed or when you're, going about your day. You want to be in a calm state. So that's another reason why the parasympathetic nervous system is the one you want to be in most of the time. So that was a small little crash course on that. Of course, that's a whole nother subject on its own. And I mean, I just, I can't, I'm really bad at coming up with the words that I want to say, and I'm not up on all the technical scientific terms, but I do know the things that I learn and how it relates to the stuff that I talk about. So the whole reason I showed you this slide here was because it really makes a difference when it comes to daily routines. So daily routines are something that you want to do in a calm, relaxed state. And before you go to bed and right after you get up are the two times of day where you really want to be in a calm, relaxed state. Because like that other slide showed, during the daytime, your melatonin there is no melatonin. That's when your cortisol is up. And it should be up. A lot of people say that cortisol is bad, but cortisol is necessary for us to function in the daytime and be on alert and to have energy. And then, yeah, like I said, the opposite of that is the melatonin, which you want to come out at night. So basically, to sum up this entire video, daily routines are important. Morning routines, nighttime routines are where it really matters. The amount of time you spend on them is not too important as long as you get something in. I guess if I had to say a perfect time for daily routines would be an hour or two. And I know that's not possible for a lot of people. Um, but if you can't fit it in the morning, if that's your only time at night, then at night is best because that's when I think it's really crucial to start winding your body down because it's harder to get your body to wind down than it is to get it to activate all of its systems. So in the morning when you get up, you know, you you might even be fully awake before you even get out of bed, and you might be just, you know, now already your to-do list is going on in your head and then you think, oh no, I got all this stuff I gotta rush into doing. And I guess I don't have kids, but I guess if you have kids, that's one of the reasons why um it's probably easier for you to get up because you got to take care of them and sometimes they're waking you up. But at night, then all of the daytime you've been spending that time on activities, moving around, getting stuff done, and it's very hard to switch gears into that nighttime mode. And that's why I think that nighttime routines are more important because they kind of take more time. And most people go to bed around 10 or 11 p.m. And so the best time of the day to start your nighttime routine is after sunset, and that's usually, unless you live in weird places that have abnormal lengths of daytime, the sunset's usually in the summer anyway. It's usually around 9, and so that gives you an hour or two to get those nighttime routines in. And I'm gonna say this. This is a bit of a tangent, but in the winter time, especially if you live in a place that has daylight savings time and where you turn the clocks back so you get an extra hour, those are the times of the year where it's so easy to go to bed early and get more sleep because your nighttime routine is going to start maybe even before supper, which I wish it wasn't like that because I know you're not supposed to eat a couple hours before bed, but if the sun's going down at 4:30 or 5 o'clock and then you get off work and then you drive home and eat dinner, then it doesn't match up so well, and then it's harder to fall into a rhythm when the hours of the sunset vary by so much. So I really wish in a perfect world I would want the sunset to happen around 9 every night. And then that'd be perfect. That'd be just great. Because then at 9 you could start doing your things and winding down, and then around 11 you could go to bed. In Ayurveda they say that 10 o'clock is the best time for night for going to bed, but of course that varies. It's very hard to go to bed at 10 o'clock, I think, especially in the summertime after the sun, just went down. So it varies. There's really no way to say what specific time you should go to bed or what time you should start your daily routine or nighttime routine because it's going to vary depending on where you live on the world. It's going to vary depending on lots of things, your shift, we're at work. So a lot of this stuff you can't do it if it doesn't apply to your life. So that's why I kind of wanted to cover all the bases and talk about every possible thing because some of this is going to hit home for you and some of it is going to be useful. So I really hope that you were able to get some benefit out of this video and get some ideas of things that you can do to jumpstart your day and to jumpstart your, well, I shouldn't say jumpstart, to maybe wind down at night and how that works because the rhythm of the body is so important to align with the rhythm of the day. And that's really what daily routines are all about. So I would like to thank you for watching this video. If you got any benefit out of it, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe and share this video with anybody that you know that could use a little daily routine in their life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.